Scalping, my friends. Welcome back to another day. Another day, another challenge, another range. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back. Good to see you. Yeah. Bradley, my friend. Good to see you, Stanks. Good to see you, Dominic. Good to see you, Jorn. What's happening, my friend? How are you doing? Diamond. What's up, Abel? We say Abel in the Netherlands. We say Abel. We don't say Abel. We say Abel. Josh, glorious trader. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Josh says it's ranging like a donkey. Yeah. My name is Jerome. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back, Daniel Berger. Frederick. Albert. John. Welcome back, my friends. How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah. We have some tracks for you that you have to listen to. Yeah, 100%. That's some nice tracks. We have to talk about that here. But overall, today will be an important day. Important day. We're preparing for the CPI tomorrow, of course. We have some clear buying zones. We have a clear selling zone as well. We're pretty much in the range. So we will talk about the ranges, the potential scenario right now. Dollar has been coming down. So we have to talk about dollar has been dropping exactly from one of our, zones that we marked out beforehand. Dollar could not break that level, the point of control, and it got rejected, allowing gold to indeed move up at exactly that same time during the Asian session. So important level. Actually, that buying zone from yesterday, my friends, that buying zone, do you guys remember that zone from yesterday? Do you see how freaking important it is to be patient and wait for your setup, son? Look at that. We were trying to enter here. Remember, we had the VWAP sitting here. That was sitting right around here. I'm going to put some music on in a second here, but look at that. We had the VWAP price came up, and we had our buy limit sitting at 35, remember? And then look at how price came again, Asian session, of course, tapped into that level and actually caused the spike towards the upside right there. So that was a clear buying zone. If you kept your limit open, then you are in a good trade. You were in a good position here. But we're going to talk about the range. We're going to talk about the levels. We're going to talk about the dollar dropping and a lot more things to discuss right now on this channel here. Episode number 58. If you could smash up that like button, then we highly appreciate it. This is how we can help the channel grow here. We are going to be here for the next coming weeks, of course, on a daily basis. Every New York session. So if you guys enjoy the content, then I appreciate if you could smash up that like button. And then I will not hold you up any longer because I have a couple things to do and to analyze. And from there, we can get the party started, my friend. So yeah, let's get going. Very nice. Good to see you all. All right. Welcome back, my friends. How are you guys doing today? It's a beautiful Tuesday evening for myself. Keep in mind, tomorrow I will be trading the Asian session as promised. A lot of guys requested me to trade the Asian session. So I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm looking forward to this. It will actually be for me in a couple hours again. It means I have to go do this stream, go to bed, wake up early, and get straight back to Asia. So we're going to be there for the Asian session as well here. We have to talk about this, right? But right now, let's go over the markets right here and let's talk about gold. Where we are, where we came from yesterday. Yesterday, we marked out, of course, our buying zone. We had our buying zone marked out. Why did we mark out that buying zone from yesterday? Major level, actually. Right? Major level that we looked for, actually. Actually, major level. Okay. Ooh, thank you for that, man. I need to work on the sound somehow. Anyways, thank you, my friend. Hope you guys are doing well. Nick, thank you, man. I wish you all the best, my friend. Anyways, buying zone from yesterday right here. Okay, the 4335 on futures. Indeed, we came back towards the point of control, right? So we had the swing high to the swing low here. Let's actually just mark it out again. So we had actually a clear understanding of where we are. We took the volume profile from the swing high to the swing low. Remember, we had this marked out right there. And that gives us the red line. And the red line is giving us what we call the point of control. And this is the area where most volume was traded yesterday, okay, in that swing. Okay, that swing that came down here. Now, on the higher time frame, we already knew that we tapped into what we call that support, right? So we had that support on the daily. We talked about it yesterday already. The daily support is such an important level, right? We know how important the level actually is. We talked about it also on gold spot, right? That major level on gold spot right there. Super strong resistance right here. Support, and then of course now again we are back at that support right around there. But that support does not mean that we're just going to fly to the moon here. It could easily mean that we're staying in the range, that we maybe sweep the highs in a couple days when the CPI comes out, and that the trend continues bearish. Could easily be this way, but we cannot neglect that we're at support right now. So the moment we came back towards that level, what we're now looking for, or what we were looking for actually, was the following, right? We were looking for the potential reaction of that area right around there. So if you take this back towards this zone, where is it? Right there, the point of control, okay? You can see that actually we tapped into this perfectly, yeah, today, right? Today during the A session, we tapped into this. So if you just are committed to the setups in this market, when the market is really slow, it's not really moving quickly anymore, we're in the range, etc. Patience is an absolute must-have, right? To be super patient, waiting for our setups is, in my opinion, the best way of trading. Okay, that's my personal opinion. To be very patient, to only trade the levels that you want to trade, and that you don't really want to force anything inside of the range just because you want to get into some setup. Okay, this is a perfect example of that. We could have entered here, right? But we were just really patient yesterday and say, okay, that is the only level which I am quote unquote interested in trading, right? And if that's the only level I'm interested in trading, then for me, that is already by default enough to pay attention to look at, right? And that gives us, of course, our buying zone from yesterday's stream, which we actually talked about right here, right? The buying zone. We had a limit order set right there, and we wanted to tap into that level, and we wanted to then potentially, you know, push higher. That was the overall idea. Okay, so patience is an absolute must-have sometimes, especially in markets like these. In my opinion, especially in the current markets, I think it's important to have a lot of patience right now, to be not too greedy as well. Wait for the setups to come for you and not chase them, okay? That is, I think, the best way of doing so here. So the question is, for now, what is today's setup? What is the best possible logical potential move that we're looking for? And that brings us back to what we call the higher time frame, okay? There are a couple things that I think are important today. A couple things that happened today, okay? And this is something that I do every single day. I go over it for like 5 minutes and I observe something that I think is important for gold, okay? So this is the gold chart right here in the left bottom. This is the dollar in the left top. On the right top, you have oil. And then on the right bottom, you have the euro, okay? The euro USD, all right? So I had the bottom here, and that's, in this case, you can see that the dollar, and this is an important thing, right? the dollar actually had that perfect rejection. So the moment the dollar came back towards that resistance here, and we talked about that higher time frame supply zone on the dollar. We talked about it already yesterday. We said we are now in that higher time frame weekly and daily supply zone right here on the dollar, okay? And every time we tap into this, we see a lot of rejection, a lot of resistance. And keep in mind that this move from the dollar was, of course, right, the NFP candle. So usually those candles get filled when there is such an aggressive move here. At some point when you find supply, strong resistance, then that could be, of course, a major selling point for the dollar, right? Where the dollar might create some sort of pullback in any way, shape, or form. So if we are in higher time frame resistance, what I do is I go to the lower time frame and I look at the patterns, okay? And we use the volume profile. So for example, what do we see on the pattern on the dollar? We see that we were in a range. We manipulated the highs of that range yesterday, remember, on stream? Then we broke down, right? And we waited for the pullback. Now the pullback came later. We just had to be patient. And it tapped into the point of control of that range. How do we call that, my friends? How do we call that pattern? I'd love to hear it in the chat because you know, we're building a community here of people where I've been using the volume profile now for a while, and they know exactly what type of pattern this is and why this is such an area of interest, why this is such an important thing to look for when we look at setups and to create like a clear bias on gold at that given moment right there, okay? If you want to learn about the volume profile, then you can just download my book for free. It's in the description. You go to the volume analysis and you go to the fixed profile. And that indeed is what we call the consolidation, the manipulation, and the expansion, right? So in this, we saw the consolidation, we saw manipulation in higher time frame supply, and we had the expansion. And then the retracement was the rejection, the point of control, and now we're seeing the sell-off, okay? Now, what time did we got into the point of control? That was around 8 p.m. Okay, 8 p.m. right there. And what time did we reacted on our zone? What time was this? 8 p.m. Okay, so I hope you guys understand why that confluence aligned perfectly, and it also aligned perfectly with the dollar, right? And how the dollar moved and what the dollar showed, and that rejection of the dollar caused gold to spike up as well, right? The rejection, the weakness of the dollar helped gold moving higher, held that support right there. So it was actually a really good time to pay attention to right there, according to that level from yesterday's stream. The zone that we have marked out right here was actually backed up by also the dollar weakness at the time, okay? So that is very interesting. Now, watch what happens right now, though, because there is something interesting happening that I think you need to pay attention to at this current moment, okay? And the problem that we're facing right now is the following problem. Okay, we have gold here, and here is the dollar, okay? What has happened today after we saw that rejection, okay? Right around here. In this moment, the dollar has for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, okay, been consistently dropping. Do you see that? The dollar has been consistently coming down here, all right? But what has gold done at that same time? You see, gold is pretty much flat. Gold is pretty much flat. So that means that the dollar right now is getting weaker, but gold is not breaking out. Is that a sign of strength or is that a sign of weakness? That is something that we always have to look at. What is the dollar doing? Why is it behaving this way? Why, if price is weaker, gold spikes up? And why right now, when the dollar is dropping further down, and it has more downside potential still a little bit, why is gold not breaking higher, right? That is because in relative terms, gold is still on the weaker side. And you can see this right now playing out in real time. Gold is actually pretty slow. It's slowing down, okay? And the dollar is no longer the driver of gold to the upside here. The weakness of the dollar does not really matter. Why is that? We have to take it a step further. Let's go to oil. Look at oil. Look at where oil is right now. Oil reached major support, okay? Look at oil right here. We had our drop, we had our base, we had our rally. Look at oil right now. Oil is in what we call a daily demand zone right there. Oil is holding that support right now at this current moment. So oil is actually at support already right now. You can see on the 30-minute time frame that oil is trying to formulate some sort of short-term bottom right now. So it's always going to be interesting that both oil, right, has a combination of of the dollar, oil combined, right? It leads to that weakness on gold as well here. So if oil is at support, you also have to be a little bit more, patient. You will see that gold will potentially respect also oil strength. So if oil comes up aggressively, then gold could also have a hard time, right? So if the dollar is weak, but oil is at support and it's holding up strong, then you could end up seeing gold being in the middle, in a range. And this is what we're seeing right now. Gold is ranging, the dollar is weak, and oil is not strong, but it's at strong support. And this is why gold cannot make up his mind today. Gold is in that range. That's what we're seeing right now at the moment. And this is what we're looking for. So how do we trade the ranges? How do I trade the ranges personally? Okay. Now in the range, we talked about it. I trade the extremes, right? So we trade the top of the range. We trade the bottom of the range. And we don't necessarily always try to anticipate the breakout. Okay. A lot of people, when they see a range, the only thing that they can think about is the breakout, the breakout, the breakout. But what if you don't break out? What if you just stay in the range? What if you just stay here for another 2 days? What if you stay here until the CPI tomorrow? Okay. Because this is going to come tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Okay. We're going to see the CPI coming out. Super important data, of course, will have a major impact as well. It's going to allow the Federal Reserve to understand if a rate hike is needed or if a potential rate cut is beneficial right there. Okay. There's a very interesting statement right there for tomorrow from the CPI. If the CPI gives a bit more indication, then we'll also get a more indication of the potential future projection of the interest rates as well here. And I think they're watching the employment right now very closely in combination with the interest rate. So if, for example, okay, the employment is really good like it is right now, the NFP came out super strong, and the CPI and the inflation data comes out better than expected, then hey, why should we raise interest rates? I don't really see the reason for that, okay? So that is something to think about as well here. Pay attention to tomorrow's CPI. It will be super important. And until then, it could easily be that gold will just simply stay in the range for today's session. And we're actually going to see the larger move tomorrow, okay? So I'm very curious right now if we can get to the extremes, because your question is, okay, but if we stay in the range, how do we kind of trade the ranges? Well, what I want to do is I am very patiently waiting for those extremes to be hit, okay? Because yesterday we were very patient and we had our buy limit set there. And if our buy limit was just set and we were just patiently waiting, eventually it would have been filled and it would have played out, right? That's perfect. So what about now? Is there a chance that we could potentially see the other side, okay? So in order to understand this and also to understand why we are in a range on gold right now, we also have to go a little bit deeper into the actual orders in the market. So let's go to the order flow right here. This is the 4-hour time frame on gold. And you can actually see right now that we have red zones and we have green zones. Okay, the red zones mean a lot more selling than buying. Okay, just think about it this way. A lot more people press market sell and then a lot more people then press market buy. Okay, so if it's a green zone, a lot more people press market buy. If it's a red zone, a lot of people press market sell. So this was, for example, right here, okay, this was the NFP. This was the NFP candle, okay? What a candle that was. Remember? Major Friday, right? Now, the interesting part of that candle is that in that 4-hour candle on gold, right here in the NFP, you can actually see that the most volume in that candle was not even traded here when the NFP came out. No, the most volume that was traded actually came out the last hour. The last hour, the final hour before the 4-hour closure. Okay? And all the sellers stepped in at the bottom. And we still close below this. So if this not or that not signified weakness, then I don't know what does, okay? So if you mark out the highlighted zone, the area where you could see the highlighted box, it's more red, it's more bright than the rest because there's more volume traded there, okay? A lot more selling took place there. You can see the difference as well, a lot more volume. 81,000 contracts in total, but most of that volume was traded right here, from the top to the bottom. And if we extend that to current price, that's our resistance, okay? That is our resistance right now. Those sellers are still in control, okay? Now, what's so interesting about this is that at the same time, what's formulating a range right now is the fact that we tapped into what? Higher time frame support. That higher time frame support is that daily support we just talked about. Okay, the daily support on gold. Okay, that is that higher time frame support we talked about right around there. Okay, daily support, we talked about it already right here. So that was the bottom. But if you go back to the order flow, you can also see that right now, this became resistance. Okay, we can actually fine tune this. And here it became support. So how about this one? Why do we see a lot of red here? But why are we trading above it? Okay, that means that a lot of people right now are selling, or we're selling gold at the bottom in that support on the daily time frame, but they failed. So they are now stuck in their position as well. So we have sellers that are in control here, and we have sellers that are stuck in their trade there. Okay, so what do? We mark out that zone as well. And where did we hold support today? Right there. So I hope you guys can see why we're in two zones, why we are heavily compressed today and why we are in the range today. Okay, we have a bunch of sellers aggressively from the NFP that are holding price down, and we have sellers that are stuck in their trade, okay, which causes buying pressure, by the way, holding that support. Okay, so we are in between that zone. So that is the range that we're trading. So this is why when we took that trade on the Asia in the morning again, because we marked it out in yesterday's stream on YouTube, right? New York session, we saw that level. That was because of this area right there. We tapped also in this box of sellers. We held that zone very nicely. And now we do see, as long as we're not above this, I don't see a reason for us to trade any breakout. We could easily be shorting again when we're there. Okay, so that is the idea. If we could come back up again and we're holding that area, it could easily be we'll simply find a way to short again, and that we stay inside of the range today until the NFP comes out tomorrow. Let's see what happens, okay? But that is for now my assumption. Is just that I wait for price to react from that higher time frame resistance as well as the higher time frame support, and we just keep trading the ranges themselves here. So we combine the order flow, we look at the dollar, we look at oil, right? And we try to build a story out of that, okay? So that was our buying zone yesterday, okay? What about now? Our selling zone is right here. This is that 4-hour zone that I just marked out in the order flow, okay? That is something that I'm looking for. If we come back and push up a higher, why do I want to see that zone? Well, I want to see internally though, I would prefer that, right? To see these highs being taken out, okay? So for example, we have that high here. We have this high there. This is the opening high, right? This is the weekly high right now. This is the daily high, okay? This is the daily high. So I would love to see that getting taken out. I want to tap into our major zone right here. Just gonna mark it out one more time. Major zone right there. Major zone right there. I want to tap into that zone, and that's where I would look for a reaction, okay? Right around this area, potentially seeing if we could potentially get a short again when we tap up into that zone here, okay? So yes, I am looking for the extremes. Why? Because it just gives me the highest probability setups. Similar to what we saw this morning, highest probability setup, right? Instead of trying to trade the internal of the internal of the internal and getting wicked out on both sides, or, you know, trying to force something right around there that is not as clean, okay? A lot of manipulation can happen here. We have been definitely building up something right here. You can see that gold is struggling, but it's going to induce a lot of people to go short, and then guess what happens? We might be pushing higher, etc. Okay, so anyways, I'm looking at that area right there. Why that level from another perspective? Let's always build multiple confluences. Let's not overcomplicate this, but we have the order flow. Then we have also what we call a low volume node. Yes, so if you take the Friday, that is the NFP candle. This is the NFP candle, the 4-hour candle we talked about right now. It's this candle. It's crazy. But we use this whole candle. Okay, we mark out the volume profile, and we have the value area low. After that volume profile right here, you know, we tapped into this beforehand. Now we can see that we also have an area where less volume has been transacted. Less volume, okay? So that is kind of the zone that I want to look for. If we tap out, we sweep the highs. We sweep these beautiful highs. We can come up. Is there a chance we could fall back and push back down again, okay? Hope that could be kind of a setup that I would be interested in right now. If price already comes down, what do you do then, right? What happens if price already drops earlier? I think gold is going to get supported right now. I think there is a chance that we might actually come up here, okay, and come back up towards this area right there, okay? So what is that level on gold spot? I marked it up before. Let's see if it's still there, if I not messed it up. Yeah, I messed it up. Let's see. Where is that level? I did mess it up. Where is it? It's empty. Okay. Yeah, anyways. So this one right here, Friday, volume profile, okay? We have a huge gap here. You can see this right there, huge gap. So we have this major zone. We have actually two gaps. We have this one and we have this one. Let's just make that one. Let's turn it into a low volume node right there. And then we have our zone that we have to watch, okay? We tapped into it before. What I want to do is I want to sweep the highs and I want to actually get in this area right there, okay? The one above that. The one above that is that low volume node. That means that we have to take out those highs right here, and maybe find our resistance, find weakness, and come back down again, potentially back towards the range, the opening price of the week. Something like that is something I'm willing to look at, okay? Hope that makes sense. Why not a breakout? Why not anticipating the breakout? Because right now we are still in a major zone where sellers held control pretty much the whole time, okay? As long as it's not broken, as long as we haven't closed above this yet, I'm not going to try to anticipate it. If we do see a closure, that is really bullish. That is really bullish because that means we'll most likely push back up towards the higher time frame range, the NFP high, okay? Where the high started pretty much on the NFP right there, if we do close above that. But for now, that's something that I don't really want to think about until it actually happens, that closure. Until then, I'm going to stick with that, wait for the reaction, see if we can come up there, potentially take a short from there, and then just stay in the range itself until further knowledge, okay? At the same time, if you look at the dollar has been consistently dropping, but also the dollar, and this is something that you have to pay attention to, the dollar will find support soon as well here, okay? The dollar will find its support already very soon. Why? Because we broke out of this range. This could be the retest of that range. It's not that far anymore. Okay, if the dollar reacts bullish from this and it starts shooting up and gold is in the range and it's at the top of the range, then we could even see the rejection there, right? So also pay attention to the dollar. At least this is what I like to do. I like to also pay attention to the dollar. Where is the dollar at? If it's dropping, and that's good for gold right now, and gold is rising, okay, and it's getting to our point of interest for sells, then the dollar will most likely be there. And I think that's an important level to watch for the dollar as well here, as we have been respectfully holding up really strong. The dollar is still, even though we're getting rejected right now, in a strong daily uptrend, okay? The dollar is still strong. We're still in a risk-off environment, which also supports the dollar. And this is already that higher time frame support for the dollar as well. So, well, that makes sense for our analysis right there. It took some time. We had to go through this here. I want to do a full breakdown for you guys. So giving you all the confluences, okay? So I don't want to have a live stream here where, you know, I come on the live stream and I mark out my little seller zone and I don't say anything and I'm just here waiting for that to happen and take a trade like that. I like to give you all the potential context needed so you actually understand of why our thought process is built around a setup like that, similar to the setup from yesterday right there, okay? Let's see what happens, my friends. Let's see what happens. Let's pay attention to the dollar. CME play was very nice. I really like it, but we're not that far away now from that higher time frame support on the dollar again. So we have to pay a lot of attention to the dollar as well, because we know how important this is for the dollar, right? We know how important this is as well. That support and how that could impact gold. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. When the CPI comes out tomorrow and the volume increases and we break either outside, so we break down, okay, and we turn it into resistance, or we break out and we turn this into support. Different vibes, different stories, different analysis. For now, we're inside of these two areas right there. Compression, compression, compression. Okay. So do you rather trade the extremes? Do you rather trade this chop? Or you rather trade these extremes? That is a question that you can answer yourself. Some people actually prefer to trade the chop. Okay? There's nothing wrong with this on the lower time frame. But we're on the 5-minute here. We're looking at the lows and the highs, the extremes, and we're kind of using that as our tool of leverage, our research, our you get the point. Okay? Amazing. Beautiful. Now, gold is pushing higher. The dollar is still slowing down. What else do we have? Oil. Oil is holding up. If oil can drop a little bit further, then we're going to see the squeeze there, right? We're going to see that squeeze up there. And then we have to ask ourselves the question. What's next? What is next? What is next? What is next? From that perspective right there. But yeah. What is this level on spot? I think it is actually... let me see. It is the 55. The 55, yeah. 4355. Yeah. 4355. Yeah. Axel says, I don't like to trade in the range. Prefer to trade the retest of the breakout whenever it longs or short. That's also another way of looking at it. But I would say when I trade ranges like this, which we have been forever, right? We have been in a range forever. And then we have one day where we break out and then we have another 2 weeks of ranging. But when we're in those ranges, I prefer to trade these highs and lows, right? Because we can range for a while. We know that. We can range for a while. But at least when I take trades around those ranges and we look at those extreme highs and lows, at least I want to see if we can take out the previous highs or lows. So for example, here we took out those lows from yesterday, right? Those lows from, the New York lows pretty much, before we got activated. Now that is actually something I would like to look for. Here, for example, we have the London highs, okay? And the weekly highs. If you can take that out and we start seeing weakness again, we can see something like that. Okay. So for me, that's something that I would definitely look for. Can we do something like that? If so, fantastic. That would definitely help. Okay. That would definitely give us a bit more, give me a little bit more nuance, a bit more confidence as well. Yes, let's set it up. There we go. And just sit it out. Let's see. Yeah, indeed. For now, we want to push it higher. That is totally correct. Yes. Perfect. I missed the swing PVC from yesterday by 10 points. Is it because I used the volume profile on the gold spot chart? Doesn't always have to be the way. Not really 100% sure if that's the reason. Sometimes there might be a little bit difference. Also depends on broker you use, by the way. What broker do you use on gold? On the Xau chart, okay? That's why I mark out as well the Xau levels as well right here. The 50, 43, 55. Yeah. Dollar is dropping pretty hard, right? And this is also a warning sign, another warning sign, by the way. Gold is pushing up, yes, but it's not really going the way the dollar is. So yeah, we'll pay attention to this. Oil as well is coming down again, even though we're at support. So that was interesting. Are you willing to place a limit order? There are two ways to look at it, man. I could place a limit order like yesterday, but it depends on the valuation a little bit. Right now, we're not really, you know, extremely overvalued. So I'm actually very patient. Or is something wrong here? No, I don't think so. So I'm just going to be patient. Okay, we're actually... Yeah, we have to wait and see. Maybe I will later. Maybe I will later. Yeah. And that's how much we got your live stream. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Guys, if you like the analysis, the daily analysis as well, for gold here, we did a 20-minute breakdown. I recommend you to just maybe go through it if you want to. And you appreciate that on a daily basis, then a like button can never be wrong. Can always help. Yeah, I do appreciate this. Thank you. So nice if you could actually do that, but like, yeah, we know that gold is already a little bit in like some resistance here, but that would be an amazing level to watch. Yeah, and in my opinion, actually, we could actually pay a lot of attention to. I actually need to do this right now. Let me actually set up the gold spot chart as well, Xau as well, so we have that set. You gotta love the ranges at certain moments in time. Yeah. Why is shorting here a bit tricky? Because we're literally in that in this area right now. We'll find probably some support here. So it's gonna be tough level to break it, in my opinion. Really tough level to break. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it on 50, by the way. Tomorrow's CPI, yeah, tomorrow's CPI will be very, very interesting. I think we just had some other news that came out, like the trade balance, etc. This is why we're seeing a bit of volume right now. And yeah, in 30 minutes we have the New York Stock Exchange open, of course, as well. So I hope to get a little bit more volume today than yesterday. Yesterday was a very slow day, but it was pretty clean price action yesterday, though. Like, that's the difference between certain ranges. Some ranges are very clean. Yes, it's slow, it's boring, but like at least the price action is clean. I felt that today was pretty good. It was pretty clean, actually. Not the London session, but the Asian session was very good. Also, yesterday's New York session, even though we didn't got filled, we got filled later at the actual bottom. But like, it was still a pretty clean move overall, eventually. Yeah, Lorenzo, have you ever thought about IRL streams? IRL streams. Like in real life streams. I've been streaming for 4 years straight. I've never done an IRL stream. What do you talk about when you stream, when you do an IRL stream? What do you actually talk about when you do an IRL? How does that work? We have to think about that. I will probably still show my chart, but then from the other side. Look at my big screen. Look at the charts. Yeah. Hmm? Lorenzo, please show you the gold chart on how you get the swing POC from yesterday, please. Okay, let's see it on gold chart. I actually don't know if it's the same on the gold spot chart. Actually, that's a good point to look for because I don't know if it's the exact same. That's actually a good point. Is it the same or not? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Was this the same point of control level or was it a different level? Right there. No. Oh, yeah, actually, it was very close. But, oh, man, you see that? So sad. It's so close, though, right? It's not far away, though. You see that? But on futures, it tapped into it. Look at that. On futures, different story. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different indeed. Slightly. Slightly off. I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you draw it from the high to the low of the swing. And if you then, this is such an I love this strategy, by the way. I love it. If you, let's say, break down, okay? You break down and you tap into daily support, higher time frame support on gold. So this is the daily support, right? Super support, resistance, support, 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 right? Super support. If you then break down right here, okay, and you then break structure. So for example, we have the swing high, you break down and you create the bottom into that support and you break up, you have a break of structure. Then you can take the swing high to swing low and you can trade the retest of the value area high or the point of control, depending on what you prefer, right here, okay? Somewhere in the zone, pretty much. That's the conclusion. Somewhere in this area right there, okay? So that is actually it's a beautiful confirmation here. Look at how it held really well, right? And you can see that this was indeed a 1 and this was indeed 2. Decided to go only for this one right here because it just made more sense for another reason. But that's the idea, right? The swing high to swing low, breakout, retest, and then push up. So that's a great way. I love the volume profile, but the criteria are you need to tap into higher time frame support or higher time frame resistance first. And then you want to break out. Then you want to flip structure and trade the retest, if that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, it's slightly off. It's slightly off. I agree with you. It is slightly different. Yeah. Yeah, so true. That's how you use the volume profile, my friends. And this is also, of course, in our book. We talked about this all the time. Okay. The trading warm-up. And what you need to do, I think you need to go to page number 42 or something. Volume, swing profile. Yeah, right here. Swing high, swing low. you break down, right? Or you see the low right here. It's actually super in the book right there, right? It's actually in the book right there, pretty much. You create the low, you are at support, okay? You tap into daily support, whatever the case may be. Then you break out, and then you mark out the swing low to swing high, or the swing high to swing low. It depends. You can try both. And you can see that the very high and the point of control is a zone of interest. And that's when you look for buys. Yeah, it's a great confirmation on the lower time frame when you tap into a higher time frame support or resistance. Yeah, so nice. Today we're not going to miss out. Listen, I never know, man. You never know, right? That's the thing about it. I can set out our levels, our zones, and patience always pays. That's for sure. So if you're patient and you set out your levels, especially in ranges like these, there's not much to change, right? If you're trending, for example, let's say we're in a trending market. Yeah, okay, if my entry fills here, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna obviously look for the next level. The next level. But in the range, we're just in the range. We just talked about the range itself, right? So from that perspective, I think it's just important to be super patient, wait for the right setups, don't force anything. And let price get to our zones, and you can see how it pays off if you are patient for the zones to be hit. And keep in mind, right? The New York Stock Exchange will open soon. So let's see what the volume then does. And also the dollar, yes, is super weak. It doesn't show any signs of strength yet at all. The dollar is trending down on the lower time frame after that reversal right there. Strong reversal. Yeah. Yeah, and these market conditions sometimes, I just said, like I said before, like limit orders, right? Set my limit orders and just let price get there. And just be patient, right? And that's it. Set out your limits and let the market fill you, and you'll see what happens. What do you think about the volume profile and deep charts versus trading view? Bro, I have been trading and using the volume profile, I don't know, how long? I think I've used the volume profile for like forever, man. And I've been using it on the gold spot chart as well as the futures chart. And for me, people say, yeah, you can only use the volume profile correctly on an actual order flow platform like this because it's the real data. And it's sort of true, right? But for me, and this is just from my experience, I have been using this forever and it works for me. That's it. I've been using the tick-based volume profile forever and ever and ever. And also on the futures chart here. And it works for me really well. So yeah, I think I just need to stick to what works, right? And not just assume, I guess, that this is the only way. Or order flow is the only way, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, but I think overall it is very similar though. It's still very, very similar. So yeah, I haven't seen a lot of difference. I like to use it already for a long time. Yeah. I saw you stream already 3 years ago the first time, and back then you already used it. Yeah, man, I used it forever, bro. Ever. You're gonna laugh at me right now, but I'm gonna show you something really crazy. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Holy shit, yes. Wow. When was this? 2022, my friends. This was in 2022. Is volume profiles as well aligning with an area of supply or demand to use this as extra confluence as well, all right? Then the other tools that we use. Wow. That was a long time ago, friends. Let me see if it's actually there. Yeah, it's actually here. Wow. If it's working, there we go. So the only difference that we make personally is to understand that volume is extremely important to combine with an area of supply or demand. So in essence, what we use is volume profiles as well, aligning with an area of supply or demand to use this as extra confluence as well. All right. Then the other tools that we use are very, very important. So we use currency indices as well. And the reason why we use currency indices is because I like to compare them on a broader level. And nothing has changed, G's. Nothing has changed strategy-wise. Yeah, a couple of tweaks here and there, some order flow. No, volume profile, supply and demand, bro. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, okay? If that's not commitment, I don't know what is right there, my friends. Well, don't laugh at me because this is crazy.
Let's jump on some of the regular questions here. So around your trading.
Damn. There was a point where I can't even look at it. Okay. We're getting there though. We're getting there. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we're pushing up again. So interesting thing about that candle was very, very wow, right? We're also undervoted against the dollar. So the thing is right now, the previous candle right here was like such a tricky candle, man. If you would see this and you see that candle, let me see if I can show you one more time. You see that candle right here, right? This one, right there. If you see this on the candlestick chart, you're like, damn. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, that is a breakdown. That's gonna absolutely tank. That's gonna drop hard, right? It's gonna take out, quote unquote, all that liquidity, etc. Well, guess what? Undervaluation. So no, we're not there yet. And we're pulled back up. So yeah, we have definitely some resistance though, but tricky. I'm gonna stick to the selling zone right there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. A new hair, new teeth. Definitely new hair and new teeth as well. Exactly. That's how it goes. Hi Lorenzo, will you open a stream tomorrow? Asian session? Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna stream Asia. Yo, known guy, what's up? Thank you, man. Tomorrow we're gonna stream Asia. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna stream the Asian session, and yeah, looking forward to that, man. Yesterday we did a giveaway for the FundedNext challenge. Still trying to get in touch with these guys. We're gonna do a giveaway later on again, not today, but I think soon. So if you send me money right now, it's gonna be all used for whatever giveaways, whatever you want to do, giveaways, things like that. Because you know, you don't really have to send me money, to be honest. But it's a form of respect, so I appreciate that. So tomorrow tonight is for you. For me, tomorrow means tomorrow morning. Yeah. So the Asian session for me is in the morning. So that means I'm gonna finish this stream. I'm gonna go to bed, and then I'm gonna come early in the morning again and start streaming again. Okay? 9 a.m. Sorry, 9 p.m. EST. 9 p.m. Not 9 a.m. 9 p.m. EST. All right? Yes. Where can I contact you for a platform collaboration? I think you can just email me. Or Instagram. Instagram is the easiest way, always. IG is the easiest way. Always. Always. But yeah, depends what firm, obviously. Depends what firm we're talking about. Don't do really many promotions, as you guys already know, right? We have barely done any promotion. I think the only promotion that we have done so far is FundedNext. That's it. These are the only guys that we have worked with before, FundedNext. But let's see. Can you show your VoIP profile settings? Yes. There you go, my friend. Question is, right, in 15 minutes we have the New York Stock Exchange open. Will this be that spike that we need, that volume? That spike to the, hopefully, upside. If we move down, what do we do down? Well, then the thing is, we'll have a hard time breaking down, by the way, because we have a lot of support still. But if we break down here, then we'll most likely drop and we'll most likely take out the lows again. So we have to look at a level lower. And that's probably going to be like the 20s. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be lower. It's going to be, yeah, pretty much around there, that same area or slightly below at the 20s. Which is, I think, I don't know exactly on spot, but I think it's roughly the 4,300, I think, spot. But yeah, let's just, what I would love to see is the price just gets to our zone. That selling zone right here. It's not that far away. It looks far away, but there's just no volume, that's why. Was that your first interview? That was my first official interview, yes. That was my first interview 5 years ago. Yeah, we've been around. We've been around the block. We've seen the market shift and change. And we've seen also the prop firm industry, change as well a lot. Yeah, no one was trading futures before, barely anyone. That was one thing. Secondary, everyone was trading currencies. Everyone was trading currencies. The British pound against the Japanese yen. The OGs, the originals, they remember that very well. The Japanese yen against the British pound. GJ. Everyone's trading GJ. Interesting times. These were the old days. Okay? These were the old days. Now we're still trading gold. Okay? I'm still committed. I'm committed to gold because I want to master one gold. Let me give you an honest opinion of why I want to trade gold. Okay? I have long term. Okay? Not short term. Long term. A very, 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 very bullish outcome for gold and silver and copper. Things that you can't print. Commodities. Okay? Gold, silver, copper, you name it, right? So I'm extremely bullish on it over the next 10 years. Okay? And if I know that we're going to enter some sort of super cycle in the future, which we probably will, then I want to be part of that super cycle. I want to trade myself to the max and get ready for the moments gold goes absolutely to the freaking moon. And that moment, at some point, will come. I'm going to stay committed to that because that's where the most money is made. Last year, in between September or August and January or February was the perfect example. That was a cycle that we saw, a monster move for gold here. From August, the breakout of the range, all the way till the top in February. This was money making right there, okay? Absolute money making. So if something like this happens in a year from now, 2027, 8, I don't really care when, I want to be ready. I want to be prepared. So I like to specialize right now because I know that over the long term, that will absolutely pay off. Specializing into something because everything gets its run. Everything gets its time at some point. I'm going to be fully ready for that. Fully ready for that. Yes. Yeah. Can you tell me how much I should risk, like the position size and trading gold? I have 10K account for FTMO challenge. Okay. Simple answer. Never trade according to your account size when you trade prop firms. Never do that. Okay? Never do that. Why? If you have a 10K account, then your maximum loss is probably like what? 1K? If it's 1K and it's $1,000, then that is what you have to trade with. You don't have a $10,000 account. You have a $1,000 account because you can only lose $1,000 and then you lose your account. So if you have that, you need to understand that that's your risk parameter. Okay, not the 10,000. It's the 1,000. Okay. So then your question is, if I have $1,000 that I can lose, how much? And I need to double that to make money. I need to make 1,000. I need to double this to them, become profitable or to become funded. Then if you have $1,000, okay, you can only risk, I would say, what? What is a good risk to trade? Maybe you can be a bit more aggressive. Maybe you can risk $100 per trade. That's 1% per trade. Okay? Yeah. If you have the money, you can buy another 10K challenge later on and you don't really care too much and you want to get funded more quickly, go for 2%. Go for $200 risk per trade. Okay? But like, forget about the $10,000. You don't have that. Okay? If you buy a 100K challenge, you don't have 100K. You have 10K. And if you put that in your mind, then you start trading completely differently. You start understanding your risk so much better. And you start reducing your risk automatically. And I think it's going to help you long term in the prop firm space if you take this serious. You see, the dollar is coming up a little bit. Oil is at support. Okay, dollar. Wow. When is the open? In 9 minutes. New York Stock Exchange opens in 9 minutes. Lorenzo, could you show us how order flow affects to your strategy? Yeah, it's incredible because, you know, you can see literally in the NFP, for example, it's such a beautiful example how in the order flow you can actually see in this NFP candle where the most volume was traded in that candle. So we still use volume. It's all about the volume, you know, the volume profile, whatever. We still use the same concept. But, you know, this is that area where so much volume was traded and not there. Okay? And that's why that turned into resistance, right? It's no coincidence that this area is then protected. It's a protected zone for sellers. So as long as we're trading below that, we can't say officially that gold is bullish because sellers from the NFP there are still in control, 100% in control. Okay, so as long as we're there, there is no way to look at it differently. Okay, if you break out of it, different story. Okay, or if we're here at support where sellers got trapped, also a nice area again to look for a bounce. And this is why we most likely stay in the range until we break out in either one direction. Okay, but yeah, order flow helps tremendously with understanding that. But the conclusion is it's the same thing as the volume profile. I just want to know where the most volume has been traded in the candle. That's pretty much it.
Traveling the world.
Yeah, New York Stock Exchange will open up, so guys. So like what, 7 minutes? Yeah, man. John, I'm watching gold move down in sync with oil. Can't see that. Okay, yeah. If yeah, oil is super important now. If oil shoots up, then watch gold pushing as well. Yeah, we're really flat now, by the way, since the London session. I did expect a little bit more movement right now with the New York Stock Exchange open though. Because I think this is what the lows of like London, correct? Okay, if this is the Asian highs, yeah, we pretty much, the London lows are sitting there, the Asian highs are sitting there. Yeah. Yo, bro, I took that buy from your level. Thank you so much. Good. Patience, my friend. Good job. If you're patient enough to wait for that, then great. Lorenzo, news is in an hour. Yeah, we have news soon. 35 minutes, actually, we have news. Existing home sales, but we're watching the New York Stock Exchange open right now first, right? After that, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. So it's official. I put $1,000 on the Netherlands to win the World Cup. 22 risk to reward ratio, my friends. 22. Okay. For $1,000, you make $22,000 if they win. Okay. You might call me crazy. You might call me crazy now. But maybe I am a little bit. Super underrated. Super underrated. I'm going to give you a tip. If you are analytical, okay, look at all the new players and look at them and analyze them where they just got contracted. Okay? Where they trade, where they actually play, what league they play. You will be shocked. You will be surprised. Yeah. Anyways, I'd rather spend it on something like this. Makes it 10 times more exciting. And it's something that I like. The Netherlands once every 4 years. I'm actually not a gambler at all. I actually don't really like it. But when it comes down to this, it's once every 4 years. It's the Netherlands. It's where I grew up, right? Italy is not playing. So I only have one choice. Axel, Frankie de Jong turning into Pele, Van Dijk to Prime. They ain't winning over Portugal, Spain, France, or Argentina. Yeah, watch what happens. They're always the underdogs. They always have been. Yeah, I mean, we put 1K on a trade, right? 1K risk on a trade. We risk around what, $500 to $1,000 on one trade. This is a trade with a 22 risk to reward ratio. That's how you should see it. All right, 1 minute, man, for the New York Stock Exchange Open. We are coming down a little bit right now. What are the next levels just telling us? Not much. We're definitely still major ranging behavior. It looks like super big, but it actually is not really. We are already in like already in some zones right there. This is another one. Yeah, it's pretty choppy inside of this range. Yeah, Lorenzo, would you buy again if you come down? We will probably have to take out the low stone first. It's actually a really flat range. So this is kind of the range that you just need one big candle that can change everything. Like one expansion, and you're in our zone. We are in our zone of interest, right? It's like that. So yeah, this definitely took some time here, but even in this range, it was actually very interesting because we came down, we created a range, then we manipulated downside, then we got filled in our setup, for example, right here, right? And then we broke out. And then that range became that support. That range became that support right here. Yeah. So watch what happens when you're there, because I think there's still a lot of support there as well, even though right now, look at that. Now we have the open. And yeah, let's see what happens, right? If price can push back. Well, we're pretty much inside of it. We're going to our buying zone. Yeah, we already had our buying zone right here. This was from yesterday's stream as well. So yeah, let's see what happens if we're there again. Because we haven't we have not broken out yet, right? We have not broken out since that since yesterday. We've been pretty much stuck in that range. And tomorrow's the CPI. So I doubt actually that today will be the breakout day, you know? I really doubt that today will be like a breakout day. Yeah, yes, this was just a perfect example of like waiting patiently for the breakout. But I think that today will not be a breakout day, I guess. I think that we're going to stay in the range. I would not be surprised at least if we would stay in the range. And then tomorrow the CPI comes out and then we'll have more information. That's going to actually be very interesting, because if the CPI comes out really, really good, positive, because oil has been ranging as well already for like in like May. Oil was pretty much in a range, right? Oil was not breaking out that aggressively in May. So we might have seen a little bit more cool off, right? Lower inflation as well, who knows? If we're going to see lower inflation, the employment of the NFP was super strong. So the employment is going up, inflation is going down. Then why would Kevin Walsh, right? Someone that Trump actually signed up to, right? Trump actually pushed Kevin Walsh into his position in the Federal Reserve. Why would Kevin Walsh then decide to increase interest rates or do some sort of rate hike when that's the case right there? Better employment, lower inflation. Trump in office, he doesn't want to have higher interest rates. So it's gonna be interesting, man, tomorrow's event. I'm very curious, actually. Do you play chess? Yes, I do. How do you know? Ah, you got it. You sniped it. You did. I actually saw something amazing. You know, I always look at gadgets. I love gadgets by default, right? I'm a gadget guy. I love to buy gadgets. I always want to be the first to have that gadget. You know, I want to be the first official owner of it. Things like that, right? And there is something new that I saw, and it's called, and I'm not a promoter, right? In any shape, shape, or form, though. Anyways, it's called Chessmate, if I'm correct. Is it Chessmate? Or is it chess not? Sorry, I don't know. Do I say something wrong right now? It's chestnut. Look at this shit. It's so sick. If you love chess, then this is what you want. This is what you want. This thing moves by itself, okay? It moves against AI. All right? You put your pieces there, you put something there, that thing comes back to you. It's pretty much magnetic, so it can move all the pieces on the board, and it's very effective. You can connect your app, your chess.com application to it, and then you can actually play against other people online, but on a real chessboard. If you are a big fan of chess, then this is absolutely something that you want to do, because this is so sick. Look at the thing moving automatically, right? That's awesome, man. Yeah. So that's my next gadget. At some point. Yeah, the World Cup. Yeah, like I said before, not really a big football guy, but the World Cup is something else, right? The World Cup is where everyone comes together. I think you have to support the World Cup, regardless if you like football or not, because you cannot deny that it doesn't bring people together. And if there's something missing in this world right now, is that we are coming together. We are all individuals doing our own thing every day. Okay? So I respect that. And we should respect it. I think that makes a lot of sense. And only what? 3 billion people watching it? But now, is this then the pullback? Dollar is pushing back up a little bit. What about oil? What is oil doing? Oil is dropping. Have you invested in the what? SpaceX IPO? No. What the problem with that is, what I'm looking at it from this perspective, it's very interesting. But I did some research into the APO or the IPO of SpaceX, and the problem with that is that every retail trader can literally invest in the IPO SpaceX. Anyways, can invest in the IPO SpaceX. Normally, if you want to get into these IPOs, you need at least $50,000 cash, liquid, to invest in these IPOs. Why for SpaceX? Why did they increase it to $2,000? Now, any retail trader can suddenly invest in one of the biggest IPO launches ever for $2,000. How is that possible? Why are they suddenly doing that? Well, I have something in my mind which makes me believe that this could actually be used as some exit liquidity. I don't know. I'm just saying something. But who knows? It's pretty unusual. Never seen before. Retail traders can invest $2,000 in the biggest launch IPO. Well, someone has to facilitate the $1.8 trillion market cap, liquidity-wise. So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable with it. I'd rather wait for this launch to cause some volatility in the markets this Friday, because it's going to be this Friday. And then after that, we'll see. We'll see how the market behaves, where it's at. The early sellers are going to come in 90% of the time. So we're going to see. At the same time, the Nasdaq is super duper overvalued. We all know this. We're at the top of the top of the top of the top, and that biggest launch, the biggest IPO launch ever in history, is gonna be right here. Okay? And every retail trader can buy the IPO for $2,000. And normally you cannot. Normally it's 50. So, I don't know, man. I don't have a good vibe around. So, back to gold. We're gonna definitely watch it though, Friday. Definitely gonna watch what happens, because it will be very interesting, and it will probably cause a lot of volatility in the whole market. There's no doubt about that. Okay? If this thing goes right, then Elon Musk could become, or will become, the first trillionaire in the world. The first trillionaire in the world. Think about that. Trillion. Okay? Not billion. Trillion. 12 zeros. Okay? 1,000 billion. Okay? Not 1,000 million, 1,000 billion. A million times million. Yeah. A million times a million. Someone did it in our lifetime before, and this is the crazy part, all right? Before GTA 6 comes out. Before GTA 6 comes out, we have a trillionaire. And that's going to be crazy. That as well. What would you do with $1 million, by the way? What would you do with $1 million? Have you thought about that? What would you do with $1 million? How would you distribute the money? Okay. And imagine if you have that times a million. So you have $1 million times $1 million, which equals $1 trillion. How would you distribute that? Well, first of all, it's all in stock. So it's all Fugazi, number one. But it's actually tangible because what these guys do is very smart. They don't take out those stocks, they keep those stocks, and they take loans against those stocks with low interest rates. That's ideal. So if Trump just keeps the interest rates low for his business friends, then they can take a bunch of money out, they can borrow it against their stocks, which is now extremely high value because the Nasdaq is in an all-time high. And then you have free money. It's genius. It's money making. And at some point, the whole thing will reset itself. The whole system will come down and it will all crash. And guess what? We'll just reset. We forget it ever happened. We're going to just reset the market. And we're going to use the blockchain. What a genius. All speculation. No, this is no financial advice, okay? No financial advice. How old are you, Lorenzo? I'm 32. Yes. No, you got to be in your late 30s, early 40s. Well, thank you very much. appreciate that. Fuck, man. It's the peptides. It's the GHKCU. Telling you. If you trade at night, what do your days look like? Gym, good food, lunch, work, calls, community, pool, a tan, good vibes. And that, pretty much that. And tomorrow we're going to trade the Asian session. So tomorrow I will not be as energetic. Okay, I'm not really a morning person, but I'm going to fully commit. Tomorrow I'm going to trade the Asian session. So, you know, we have seen amazing Asian sessions lately. So we all agreed that it was worth going live during the Asian time. So if you like, or if you live in Asia or around Asia, or you can actually be there, then it will be amazing. So tomorrow is going to be the Asian session, because for me it's also something new I want to try. Because if it's a success, right, I will still trade the majority New York. But if it's a success, then I will definitely sneak in a couple of Asian sessions a week. You know? Yeah. Because of the clean market, just because of the price action, that's the only reason. Okay, yes, it's easier for me as well. It's in the morning. Then I have the whole day off. I can do whatever I want the rest of the day. But like, holy shit, what's happening? That's a big squeeze. That is a big move. We were waiting for something like that. Right? Okay. Now we're talking. Boom. Imagine shorting this. Right there, and right there, and that. Nope. Straight to the moon, my friends. Straight up. Wow. Dorjoluninus. Is it a nice zone to buy gold? Well, I just read your message. Wow, that's a crazy move, guys. What is this move? What is going on here? Oh, welcome back, New York, baby. Welcome back. Yeah, we're back. There we go. That is exactly it. We were waiting for this moment forever. But this is no surprise, of course. New York. Yeah. Crazy. Like, what a candle is this? Yeah. Yeah. Don't say that this is surprising to you in these sessions. This is not surprising anymore, right? Wow. And we close below. Boom. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Straight up. Let me check real quick. 1 second. Yeah, we're back in that zone. The 4 hour. We know how important that area is. Look at that. Oh my God, what a beauty. What a reaction. Damn. Let me check real quick. This is really quickly. This is too quick. Wow. Straight into that level. Straight up. Straight up. The 4355. The 4355. Let's look on gold right now. The gold spot chart real quick. The 4355. How can it be gone again? We had it marked out so many times. The 4355, that's the zone we marked. Right? What we did again. Again, back to the beginning. We marked out the Friday. And we had this zone, this low volume node right here. Right there. That was our area, right? Boom. We mark out the low volume node. Boom. Yeah. 4355. 4354. Sorry. What did I say? 55 or 54? Here's daily very low. I said 55. Correct. 55. 55. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Damn. And this is exactly why you can't anticipate on the breakouts, my friends, until the breakout actually happens. Because this is the whole point we tried to make, right? When we talked about our zones, we just can't anticipate that this is just gonna break until it actually is gonna break right here. Okay, we really, for breakouts, you can't trade breakouts right now. There is no reason to look for breakouts, because like there is so much volume traded in this NFP candle right here. It's just crazy. And then we had, of course, our major zone right there at that support. So don't anticipate the breakout right now. Wow, this is amazing. News in 5 minutes. Yes, I agree. News is in 6 minutes, actually. Yes. It's probably the craziest 50-minute candle I've seen so far. Now looking at it, look at that. Truly. The craziest 50-minute candle I've seen in ages. Wow. Any news related to this? Yes, we just had some news as well here, but trust me, man. Like, this is why I'm actually almost thinking right now, guys, of not even looking at the news anymore. Because it doesn't really matter. Like, I've seen, like, over the course of the last weeks right now, these levels that we mark out, for example, other levels just, you know, hit so clean. And then right when you get into that level, right, news comes out. Like, it almost does. You can't make it up. You just can't make it up anymore. So I'm like, is it really like, should I be obsessed with the news? Because if one day there are talks on an agreement. So for example, right now we have talks and agreement to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. Okay? And then tomorrow it's about peace deal agreement. And then the next day it's about Israel attack Lebanon. Right? It keeps going and going and we're in a loop. So I'm like, is it really now that important to just pay attention to every single event now? Because you can clearly see that the levels are levels and we react from those levels. You know, it's insane. Yeah. But that's by far the craziest amount of... the craziest 50-minute gun I've seen in a while. Absolutely. The 5-minute as well closed up, and usually even then you usually see a little bit of consolidation, etc. Nope, this was straight up. We aggressively took out exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the stream. It followed, in my opinion, really perfectly, right? We got those highs out. These highs, the London highs, the Asian highs, and the weekly highs, both taken out in a matter of seconds. And straight up reversal. And guess what it's going to do now? It's going to take out the highs. It taps into the zone, our selling zone. And it's going to go straight for the lows. It's going to go straight for the lows. Yeah. In a matter of seconds. If you think, oh, that's crazy, right? Why this level? Why exactly that zone? That's the low volume node. Okay, you can actually learn about this in the book as well, if you wanna learn about the volume profile, etc. To be honest, I would say that this zone was perfect. But let's be really honest here. We took this buy, right? I took this buy during the Asian session. We marked this out in yesterday's stream. So we tapped into this, we got the field. That played out. And then it came actually very slowly towards this level. It creeped up towards this level. So usually you see like the creep down or the creep up towards the level. And then once it's here, you're like, okay, yeah, price is getting closer and closer. So I will set my limit order there. Okay. Now in this example, the zone was perfect. We marked out the best zone, but it was so quick. It was so fast. I was like, there is no way. And it shoots up and was like, I didn't have time to put a limit order there. Literally. It was literally just price shooting up immediately. And why would I like, here, I was like, oh, we're probably going to dump a little bit. We're probably going to slowly creep up again. Well, let me quickly mark this out here. Leave. We're probably going to creep up again. I was like, okay, we're here now. Okay. We're creeping down. I'm like, okay, no need to put a limit order there yet. We're going to probably creep up. Then I can think about the limit order and then whoop, and we'll come down. But no, straight up, boom. No remorse. What a zone though, a crazy zone. Beautiful though, It's still beautiful. Yes, it was news related, but also I take this down with a grain of salt. I take this with a grain of salt, the news, in my opinion. Because it's all over the place. There is no clarity. I think people are like, yeah, right. Okay, sure. Whatever. And then the market resets itself and it just goes back to normal again. Anyways, we had the existing home sales as well here. That also came out good for the dollar too. So this is going to be super interesting. Employment went up. The existing home sales are looking better now. Okay. And that's actually really good for the economy. There is still demand. And then tomorrow we have the CPI. If the CPI comes out weaker than expected, then that's incredibly good for the economy. That would actually not be considered good for the dollar. Okay. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. I think tomorrow is actually a perfect example of what the actual market will tell us, right? I think if we don't break out of the range by tomorrow with the CPI, then I don't know what will happen. Then we might stay in the range until the actual IPO comes out from SpaceX on a Friday. I would also not be surprised if that would be the catalyst. But at the end of the week on a Friday again, we'll do something crazy like that. Or we break out or whatever. Yeah. Up or down, by the way. Up or down. Yeah. This was literally a minute. Trump is live? No, I don't think so. Is he? No, he's not live. He's not live. Yeah. Show your indicators. The only indicator we use is the volume profile. And you can learn about this in my book. You go here, you click on ltacons.io, you sign up, and you download my book. And all the information is in there about the volume profile, how to market out, why it works, etc. The other indicator I use is an indicator that my community has and me, and that is the stealth valuation index. It's not the RSI. People think it's the RSI, but it's a stealth valuation index. Okay. And it measures gold against the dollar, etc., etc. Or oil, whatever you want to measure it against, I would say. Yeah, crazy. My community right here in the chat. I sold the top. Still in. Ken, the man. Ken, the man. Sold the top. There we go. That's why you're in the group. Ken. Love it. How do we know exactly which low volume node price will react from? You have different ways of looking at it. The one that I look at right now is just the very low and then the low volume node within that. It's a good question to ask because there are different ways to look at it. But this was pretty obvious because it aligned perfectly with the previous highs. So for example, in this case, right, we took out the previous highs like we talked about. We did our full analysis at the beginning where we said we wanted to see these highs getting taken out. And then the low volume node above that is the entry. So that's why this zone. Because we took out those highs now. And the question is, what's next? What's the next target? I mean, back to their buying zone, I guess, right? But it's pretty strong rejection here. Yeah, I hope you guys sold, right? And actually stick to it though, and not bought, for example. And this is why I think this is a great lesson, by the way. I think it's an amazing lesson to pretty much trade the extremes. Like we took a buy here, This was a perfect sell here as well. And it shows that the extremes are always going to be the best opportunities at any time. Okay, in a ranging condition, the extremes is where the money is at. And with the extremes, I don't mean the chop inside. I mean taking out the highs, taking out the lows, and then look for the reversals. That is the best way, in my opinion, of trading ranges. It's not the inside, it's the outside. Okay, and this is, I think, where the highs become very interesting. The highs and the lows. Because if you take those out and you see weakness, this was very quick, don't get me wrong. But you could see it very clean here as well. Then that's an amazing entry. Yeah. That's how I love to trade ranges as well. Is to just look for the extremes. These extremes are getting taken out. Then you look for the weakness. Then you go from there. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it just in general makes a lot of sense. Because you can't think about breakout trades until inside of the range. This is something that I've learned deeply. Is that sometimes I entered a trade here, let's say in the past. And then price was coming up. And I'm in the perfect trade. For example, right here. Okay, and think about this. I'm up like $5,000 here. Right? Imagine that I'm up $5,000 in that long, right? And imagine if I held on to the trade right now and I didn't close that trade. Okay? Then I would now be back at my entry. Almost. You know what I mean? We'll be back at my entry. So what I've really learned is that if you are inside of a range like that, then just exit at the top of the range. Don't try to say, oh, I have such a good position now. We're going to break out, because 90% of the time you're not going to break out. You're going to break out when no one expects it. Yeah. And that's the breakout. And then you're not ready, and then you're not positioned, etc. And we call this exhaustion. So for example, you enter a position here. You are extremely bullish. You buy, right? You're thinking like, oh, amazing, I'm in the best trade possible. Price comes up and it comes back down to your entry. You get stopped out. Now you're tired. You're like, ah, fuck this shit. Right? You were up $5,000. Now you're up nothing. And then you're like, okay, forget about it. And boom, the real move happens. Right? So it always tries to set the tone. So I like to just take my profits, for example. So I enter here. Price comes up. I take my profits. And then, if price breaks out, okay, if it breaks out, I can always try, if you see the retest, to enter on the retest for pretty much the same price. Maybe a bit higher, but with a better confirmation. With a much better confirmation. Okay? So for me personally, that is something that I like to do when trading ranges, because it allows you to take profits. You wait for the breakout. You can always wait for the confirmation. Whatever, if the confirmation does not come, you made money. That's all that matters. You know, you made your money. That's all that matters. But yeah, clearly these two zones are very crucial. And funny enough, this is exactly what we talked about with our group today at the training floor before. Pretty much that. But this was quick. This was fast. That move was driven by news. It's irrelevant if it's driven by news or not. The move happened. It took out those highs and it flipped in our zone. So news is just a liquidity, you know, a catalyst. That's all it is. It's just looking for the next big pool of money. And it takes it and it reverses. Yeah. In terms of buys, though, like I don't know if I would buy there in the middle. like we were looking at these two levels, right? I have marked them out on the lower time frame. But I was not really comfortable with buying them before. Definitely not. Like I said before, we just talked about those extremes, right? We talked about those extremes. But I have to say, if price now, let's say, comes down, okay, it's not really convincing now. You know what I mean? To look for buys again, to be honest. Because this was such an aggressive spike up to take out the highs. If price now drops into our buying zone again, which was our previous buying zone from yesterday. The thing about the dollar is that the dollar is not that far away, right, from the bottom again, or like from major support here, right? So even if the dollar right now comes down a bit more and we shoot up here, gold is going to break down. Gold is going to continue the downtrend. Like it doesn't seem to me that this will be the reversal for gold. It could then potentially break out. But again, in order for that to happen, you need to take out this level. You need to take out the 43.010 on futures, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on spot. That is the, wow, that is the 43.010. So 43.27 and 43.50. So 23 points. 43.010, 10, 13, 88. 42.88. Okay. So it needs to close below the 42.88 in my opinion. And that is very bearish for gold. Because if you do that, I don't care about the daily support. I think then that is bye-bye for gold. Continuation. Yeah. But again, we have the CPI tomorrow. So there is still a lot of uncertainty around, let's say, the inflation data. And how that plays out for gold as well. Because the NFP came out very bullish for the dollar. The CPI could potentially settle it a bit. But in the end, it's about interest rates. It is about interest rates. It's about, are we going to increase or decrease interest rates over the next couple of months? By the end of this year, potentially? What is going to be the answer to that? Okay? So, yeah, we're most likely going to hop back into that point of control. Yeah. But a beautiful, I think still, regardless. The buying zone today was beautiful. Selling zone again. There's a reason why we react from those levels. And it's still beautiful to witness. I'm liking to see this all times. I'm always happy to see things playing out the way I wanted it to play out. Because it just makes sense. It's not weird. It's not unusual. It makes sense. It made sense. Yeah. But I really think that was the move, to be honest. Crazy. And tomorrow we're going to trade the Asia session as well. So, you know, probably tomorrow will be, or I don't know, maybe tonight for you even, when I'm live again. We'll probably settle out a little bit. Let's see where gold then will be, because it will be super interesting. Would I still be willing to take buys? Well, of course I will. If we are respecting the 30, if we're respecting this area and we can't seem to break it and we're holding that zone, okay, specifically a bit lower now, specifically this area, okay? So it's actually lower. It is not the POC anymore. Okay, I'm going to remove this for now. This was the previous trade. It will be actually, I need to confirm this, 29 minus 23, 43.06. 29 minus 3, 43.06. If I'm not mistaken, 43.06 down to 43, yeah, 42.88. Yeah. 42.88. I need to write it down so I understand this for tomorrow as well. But yeah, that is definitely still a potential zone. If you can't close below that, then we'll most likely just stay in the range. But again, the volume is increasing heavily right now. This candle is going to close, I think, in like 1 hour and like 40 minutes. So we still have a lot of volume. And we still have around what? A 1 hour and a 1 hour and a half left, right? For that move to happen. 1 hour and a half left for that move to happen. Right there. So this could break it already. Who knows, right? There's a lot of volume. It's nasty amount of volume. But if you shorted this level, and let's say you put a limit order there around the stream already, and you shorted it, I would still take profits there or close the trade there. I would not hold on to the trade. Okay, I would close the trade. I would take out the money. Tomorrow's the CPI. I would maybe look in Asia for a new opportunity. Maybe a retracement. Maybe if you close below, a continuation down. But then you have the confirmation. So I would definitely look for closures. I would not hold on to the trade. That's my personal opinion. Do whatever you want to do with this. But we just talked about the fact that ranges are ranges until they're broken, until they're confirmed to break and closed below or above. And as long as you're above it, then we'll have a confirmation. Yeah, pretty wild stuff today again. Very unexpected because it was such a major move in a minute or two. But you can see how quick it can go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Who's going to be in the Asian session tomorrow? I would love to see some guys from this from the New York streams joining too. It's actually going to be soon already, right? It's like I am literally going to go to bed, and then I'm going to wake up, and then I'm going to go straight to the streams in the morning for me. It's going to be very interesting because I've never streamed in the light. It's actually dark in my villa. I've never streamed in the light. Actually, I've never done that. Think about that. So yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Clean has price action as well. Usually in Asia as well. Yeah, but why are we reacting here? Because we're here now. We just marked it out. We tapped into the zone. Now we're in this zone. Look at that. We are here. So yeah, we are reacting again from this area. Okay. Crazy market. Crazy range. When is the next giveaway? We'll talk about it later. I think in a couple of weeks or something, like a week or something. 2 weeks. Yeah. 2 times, 3 times a month. We'll do something like that. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think the biggest move has happened, man. This is a potential buying zone, but you really want to see price settle here, in my opinion. You want to see price settle. It's already reacting from it, but like, wow, that initial move was already great right here. The point of control. This move right there, and now we're here, and now we're reacting again. Crazy markets we're living in, man. But tomorrow's the CPI, and if you can't be there with the Asian session, it's okay. We'll be here the rest of the week every day. Still New York. Tomorrow is just my test round. Okay, I'm just gonna stream the Asian session 1 time. It's just a test, and you know, if it goes well, then we'll keep going. Okay. It's not just about the trade, it's just about how do I feel trading the Asian session in the morning when I just wake up, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Like what's popping here, my friends? Crazy. Okay, I think I'm gonna go, guys. I'm gonna go come back during the Asian session in 8 or 10 hours from now. What is it? 9 p.m. EST, okay? 9 p.m. EST. Yeah. 9 p.m. EST. So that is 9 a.m. for me, 9 p.m. for New York. They have to calculate what it is for you. Okay? Yes. All right. Yeah, we're reacting really well again from this buying zone. Last thing I'm going to say here. It's pretty wild. It is pretty wild here. But we still have 4 hours for this 4-hour candle to close. And yeah, the market is nuts right now. It's crazy. But yeah, we're reacting again from the buying zone too. Okay. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take some rest. I'm going to sleep early. And then I'm going to come back tomorrow morning for me, Asia session again. And then we'll have the CPI as well later on. But I will be there for the Asia session. So looking forward to that. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. And smash up that like button if you can. If you like these type of streams as well. Download my book. Learn about the volume profile. Learn about those zones. How to spot those zones. Yeah, you can find the link in the description. And then I'll see you later. Okay? I want to put on that song one more time because I really liked that song yesterday. Today. Really nice song. For you guys. A bit Indian vibes, you know what I mean? A little bit. My friends, see you later. See you in Asia. Ciao, ciao.